When you hear about a trend or a syndrome, you are thinking something that will soon pass. A syndrome is a collection of symptoms. That is something that explain or give you insight into something that is going on. But it does seem as though a particular trend is not going to end anytime soon. I remember when we were younger, it was all about Andrew saying he was going to check out. From that time up till now, many Nigerians have had cause to travel outside the country. We know that many go for education, some go for holidays. But where this Japa syndrome and this trend began is because of the agitation by many Nigerian youths and some adults as well, who insist that they want to be outside the shores of this country. And what is important, what is critical, what we're going to examine today is they want to explore any means possible, regular or irregular. And we do know that when you don't have your papers in order, your passport, when you don't have a plan and a strategy, and you're leaving your comfort zone, it's a cause for concern. And that's why we tell you today to be a part of our conversation on Weekend Deal as we talk about Japa, the trend, the syndrome, the whys, the when, the wherefores, who, why is it so important now more than ever before? That's our focus on Weekend Deal. My name is Thelma Obaze, and I warmly welcome you. I know you stay here with us in the course of this package because I know that so many families in Nigeria have 1, 2, 3, 4 people, members of their families who have Japa. We do hope they did it the regular way and the right way because we want you to contribute telling us the right way it should be done. It's Weekend Deal, and we count on your keen participation as you send us messages, sharing experiences, because you know a lot about what we're talking about today. If I were to ask you to make a guess where the word Japa was coined from, what would you say? Well, Professor Toyin Falola has been doing her research. It tells us it's from the Yoruba language. It's a derivative from the Yoruba language. Francis tells us more with his in-depth background feature. He examines the whys, the when, the who, and the wherefores about this Japa trend. Francis, tell us more.
This is 2024 and the Japa syndrome is still trending in Nigeria like an emerging pandemic.
This Japa syndrome came up because people wrongly assume that over there everything is all right. Because one person is successful in the US or in the UK or in Europe will not make everybody who goes to Europe successful. People are running away to escape the poverty. People are running away to be away from our community because of the poor governance. People are running away to also go to other countries because they feel they are not secure. So then there are others who really do not have why they should run away. But because others are running away, they are also running away. Those are the group of people who pass through the desert and other seas and end up dying in the guise that they want to move away from Nigeria.
There are people that are japaring because they went to university, they graduated, they couldn't get a job. They don't really want to leave Nigeria. They couldn't just make ends meet. And then they found out that there are greener pastures in other places, and they felt they should go, and they left.
Good morning. Yeah, Lagos.
It is evident that this syndrome affects the labor force of Nigeria adversely, since the youth, professionals, and the skilled workers in Nigeria are predominantly involved in this mass exodus.
Many people have not really considered the implication. Many people just want to go in the show that, I have come. Also, someone in our family is in Europe or is abroad. I know some cultures and some communities in Nigeria where for one person in their family to go is like a big deal. But look deeply into their lives. There's nothing to write home about.
If government does not address this, more and more people will go. Brain drain is when people go. Brain gain is when they come back, or when the impact of their going is now rubbing off on the country. So we will always have brain drain that does not become brain gain.
Today, there is still the increasing rate of an emerging urge to leave Nigeria by the old and the young. The current net Nigerian migration rate is minus 0.273 per 1,000 population.
Over $30 billion come back to Nigeria annually because of our diaspora. So that money is also supposed to boost the economy and help develop the economy. But sadly, the money just comes for family upkeep, family feeding, and so on and so forth. Help your brother to rent a house, help your brother to pay school fees. But the benefit into the economy, to build and organize, robust economy, and let their impact be felt in the economy.
There's nothing wrong for people to have another experience in life. If today I feel I want to stay in Europe for 2 years, I want to go there to just stay there 2 years or 1 month and come back, not because I want to run away from Nigeria. That's where the Japa syndrome becomes a problem. If you are running away, you are abandoning your father's land. You are abandoning your father's property. You are abandoning your God's given right and start doing funny jobs just to get a living there.
Ultimately, the decision to seek greener pastures abroad requires careful consideration of both the opportunities and challenges, as well as a realistic assessment of individual circumstances and goals.
What makes those countries attractive, we can make it here and be more and more attractive. Our government must learn from this migration and know that citizens need something, and what do they want? Provide it for them.
UAE was like Nigeria before now. Dubai was like Nigeria, desert everywhere. But forward-thinking leadership came and said, okay, the places people are going to, what are the things that are there? And then they transform their place to look exactly like the places where people are going to. And today, they are the destination. Through good leadership and good governance, we can transform Nigeria to also become the destination. Saudi Arabia wants to become a country in 2030 that as citizens, they don't need to japa anywhere. What they are looking for there is here. The level of injustice is coming down, tribalism and nepotism is coming down. You'll find that Nigerians will not want to japa anywhere anymore because everything they are looking for is in their country.
Our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on the Japa trends in Nigeria, pros and cons.
Weekend Deal. Japa trends in Nigeria, the pros and the cons. It's the cons that worry us, and we know you'll be a part of our conversation as we continue to unveil what we know, what we have learned, with a special guest who will throw more light on what we'll be discussing today. Abdurrahman Tirab is Director Technological Transfer and Innovation with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. Great to have you on Weekend Deal, Director.
Thank you very much.
Our conversation will start
Thank you
soon,
for
but
having
let's get to meet our next guest, Mrs. Kokab Farouk. She's an entrepreneur. She's been in Nigeria for 21 years. Great to have you with us on Weekend Deal.
You're welcome.
As we want you to lean in very enthusiastically on this issue we're discussing, which is Japa trends, the pros and the cons. Yes. Now, Nigerians, we heard that it's mostly youths who want to migrate.
Actually, that's not the case entirely. Okay. The Japa trend is hyped by social media. Previously, migration has been in existence in Nigeria for a very long time.
Since Andrew.
Yeah, very well. So you could recall that. And so just to tell you that, of course, 40 years down the line, it has been the same thing. That makes people to be interested in each other the more. Despite the fact that the global population is growing, you can see that the level of interactions is actually getting closer across diverse.
And that's a good thing.
Also,
But I ask
actually,
you to hold your thoughts a bit, because sometimes what concerns us is how some people progress to international shores and what they encounter when they get there. And perhaps that's what Emeka had on his mind when he delved into immigration matters. Emeka, what did you find?
In the terminal building, smoking is only permitted in the specified smoking areas.
Government cannot stop you from desiring to go to a place where you think your bread is more buttered. But the issue remains that, yes, government is trying. Of course, we have a new government that has put in place some new economic policies that will definitely take a few months gestation period. So if within this period, a lot of people think, oh, they need to relocate, there's nothing government can do. But I understand that naturally in the coming months, we're going to be seeing the results, positive results of some of the economic policies of government. Our job is to ensure that your migration is safe and regular. So you don't go with fake passports, you don't travel through the illegal routes, you don't travel with substituted photographs on your documents. We are out to frustrate any form of Japa that is irregular. And what we have tried to do with her supervision is to increase awareness, to remind people that all that glitters is not gold. All the promises you might get might not be as easy as it is. You won't pick money on the streets when you go there. We do deny people departure when we find out that they don't know where they are going, that they don't even understand what paper they are carrying or what kind of visa they are carrying. The Nigerian Immigration Service, which I speak for, has always had a very robust relationship with all the other government agencies. There's a strong interagency collaboration between agencies like NAPTIP, the National Agency for Prohibition in Trafficking of Persons. Even though we patrol border routes, but there are also unapproved borders or illegal borders, so to speak. And what happens there, to a large extent, is a smuggling of migrants, which we are also battling. These kind of issues about smuggling of migrants or human trafficking, they are on the decline. And we're not doing it alone. We're doing it in conjunction with other federal government security agencies. It's not an easy thing, but the Controller General is committed and is very passionate about bringing changes. Most people in overseas, the system doesn't even allow you to get rich. There are no such things. Everything you earn, they collect from you with the left hand. So by the time you pay your tax, pay your mortgage, pay your heating and lighting and gas and stuff, you are left with next to nothing. So that's why people spend 30 years there. It's almost like they're in bondage, trying to pay back. There's a lot of credit. Banks will be sending you a message, come and take money, come and take loan, come and take money. And then you take because you need it. You can't exit anymore. So a lot of people who go there don't come back also because they are mortgaged to the system. They're indebted to the system. And it takes like 20, 30 years average to free yourself, by which time you're already too old and you begin to imagine, what am I coming back to do? So your country still remains the best opportunity you have to achieve your dream. Unless you don't have a dream. Most people don't have any dream anyways. But if you really have a dream, this is the place to be. So I think this is really the place to invest in. Invest your time and your talent so that the outcome is going to be rewarding, I believe.
Interesting. It is all well and good to broaden your horizon locally and internationally in whatever way you can best imagine. communications, technology, do it. But what we want to establish here is that there's a right way to do it and the wrong way is not the best way. We urge you to be a part of our conversation. It's all about us. It's Nigeria, one for all and all for one. Let me talk with Mrs. Kokab Farouk. She's an entrepreneur and she's here with her family. And it was quite interesting earlier on to learn that your father was here many years ago. You had the opportunity to go to school here in Enugu. You've been to the cool city. You saw your school. But do you know of Nigerian families who are over there in Pakistan? Do you know of their experiences?
No, I don't. Really
you don't? Okay.
Yeah. Mostly I'm in Nigeria, so
you've not visited home for a bit?
Even if I go, it's just for a month or so.
That's quite some time.
Yes.
When you go there, when you go back to Pakistan, what do you miss most about Nigeria?
Nigerian people, they smile.
That is exciting.
Yes, to come back and meet Nigerian people, they occur like my own people.
Amazing.
Yes.
So my smile is contacting you, your own smile is contacting me. We are both energized by the enthusiasm you're sharing.
Thank
Amazing.
You.
Okay, Abdurrahman, now let's go deeper. Yeah. When I saw the rate of migration from the year 2020 to 2023, there was a decline, then it increased in amazing numbers. And one will begin to wonder, who keeps a check on how those who go are faring? How far are you going to check upon our people?
Yeah, just like you said, first of all, migration is a global phenomenon. While we try to contend with ours in Nigeria, actually the rate of migration has been on the increase. The United Nations is estimating that about 300 million, over 300 million are migrating each year, especially around 2023 to 2024. And it will also surprise you that actually very little component of that is actually Africans and Nigeria. Mostly is from Asia and Eastern Europe. But as regards ours, why we feel it should be an issue is because people are not just migrating, but it is also affecting some of our skills, our areas of core competences, some of our professions. We are losing in recent times a lot of doctors, a lot of professionals, a lot of banking people who have experiences.
In banking.
Now, you need to look at it from both perspectives. When we are discussing migration and Japa, we always look at the two major components, the push factor and the pull factor. You just traveled, you are looking for how to set up yourself. By the definition of the diaspora in the national diaspora policy, you have to be in that place for over a year. You have to be established. You have to have a legal address. You understand what I'm saying? Before we now consider you a diasporan. At the moment, in your first years, you are just a traveler, and which means, of course, the country does care for you, but not a mandate of the Diaspora Commission.
We cannot begin to take steps.
However, we don't have that luxury any longer.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hold your thoughts there for a minute. We'll be right back to continue this conversation. And it'll be interesting to know the similarities in culture between Pakistan and Nigeria, because you've so settled into our warm embrace. And we now wonder, are there similarities in culture? But that will be when we return. We're going to Oyo State. And some are asking, what's the role of government and governance as we talk about Japa, the trend, the syndrome, the pros and the cons?
Years ago, it was a thing of joy for Nigerians to come back home from abroad after finishing their studies in order to contribute their quota to the development of their fatherland. But things are different today. Many skilled and unskilled Nigerians now seek for greener pastures in foreign countries, and this act of running away or escape from the country is trending, and it is popularly referred to as Japa.
The current trend where young Nigerians initially and now everybody wants to leave this country desperately, as if they are being pursued, ostensibly for greener pastures, for better conditions of living, in an environment where there is relative security and where life to them is in abundance. So we find most of our people leaving their jobs, selling properties, leaving Nigeria, saying bye-bye to Nigeria, moving to Europe, moving to Asia, moving to America, and far-flung European countries to earn a living, where they think their life is better.
You must seek a place where you are comfortable and secure, but it is best in one's native country or hometown. But please, if you know you are going to get comfort and security elsewhere, go. But there's a clause. Ensure that you travel with correct papers, passport, visa, and funds.
There are diverse opinions on why people embark on this journey from known to the unknown. Some of them sell their belongings to be able to raise enough money to fund their journey abroad and face a lot of challenges in the process.
Nigerians are strong people. They can survive anywhere with determination, with resilience, with gut. They believe that they can make it anywhere, and some of them have made it actually in some of those countries. But some are also suffering because the owners of those countries are not willing to let their country be taken over. You remember recently there was a video circulating where people in Dublin waged war against blacks because it was said that they have actually come to take over their countries. So their properties were destroyed, the train station was virtually burnt down. So life was terrible. The condition outside Nigeria is most times unpredictable because of the weather. The weather can be extremely very cold. In fact, each time people say 0, -0, so I begin to wonder how people survive in those countries. Recently, it was broadcast, it was in the CNN, that some Nigerians in Canada had no accommodation. They built tents on the field, tents. And one young man died, a Nigerian died because of cold. He got frozen and he died. And some Nigerians in the area now said, let them come together and see whether they can mount up pressure to see whether these people can be accommodated, could be accommodated before the extreme cold that could sweep people away. So it's not that it's also that easy. They go there to also suffer, but they believe that that suffering is better than suffering in Nigeria. And that's why I say to our people, if you can go outside Nigeria to struggle to survive, why not you stay in Nigeria and struggle and survive? It's much better.
One wonders how easy it is for people who move to foreign lands to acclimatize in view of different customs and norms and the fact that they have to look for what to do to make ends meet.
They will tell you, when we get there, we will sort ourselves out. Hence, you see managers becoming morgue assistants, washing dead bodies, carers, street sweepers. They tell you, survival of the fittest.
As a matter of fact, something needs to be done urgently to reduce the number of people traveling abroad in search of greener pastures.
Security is a typical major issue. Let there be security. Because if there's security, people can plan, people can move, people can do any kind of business. Let there be jobs for people. There are many of our youths today who are not gainfully employed. It's not that they are not willing to work, but the job is simply not there. We let the medical facility be functional. Primary health, secondary and tertiary. The government must also address the salaries of workers. And so people that's also running salaries, those who are not running salaries must have conducive environment for them to do their job, whatever trade they want to specialize in. Everybody must be free to live. Don't be afraid of area boys, don't be afraid of bandits, don't be afraid of some man people making life difficult for you.
Running away from one's country may not be the best option because Nigeria will remain our fatherland, and wherever we go, we will always be addressed as Nigerians. We must therefore work together to make Nigeria better and put an end to the Japa syndrome.
How important is it, Abdurrahman, to go abroad the right way? And is there a wrong way to travel?
Yes, of
What
course.
is the consequence?
A lot of people die of starvation.
They don't even make it to Libya.
Of hunger, getting into the hands of bandits. You understand what I'm saying? And then those who finally arrive at Libya also have a challenge of crossing the Mediterranean.
Where are they crossing to Europe?
Into Europe. Some that are lucky enough to board a boat or a ship are also, at the dangers of maybe getting capsized in the Mediterranean. And so you get to find that it is a whole gamut of challenges between here and your destination if it is not regular. And then also you get into so much trouble because probably you don't have transit visas that allows you to move between one country and the other.
Another.
And then also you are most likely to fall into the hands of traffickers.
People take advantage of you.
Because in most cases we have situations where once you arrive at your destination, your passport is taken away from you. Your visas are taken away from you by those who helped you to move there. And then they keep you there for 5, 20 years working, yes, without having access to your documents. And that is actually what happens.
When you work, what happens to the resources?
They have already signed agreements in most cases to collect the resource on your behalf and give you peanuts. Because sometimes I wonder, how on earth will I sell a house for 15, 20 million naira? How much is an air ticket? Why do I have to follow that route? So it's mind-boggling. You can't understand. That's why we believe Japa itself is a social phenomenon. It's a social orientation issue.
Really?
Sincerely speaking, sometimes the push factors, people would like to feel it's economic, but in some climes, it is actually a social orientation. No matter how green where I am is, I don't feel comfortable.
You think it's always green on the other side?
If I don't actually cross over to the other side.
And take some of the
Yes.
the greenest
So actually
part.
what is required to reverse it requires a lot of social reorientation. We applaud some state governments, Edo State government is one, that has done a lot in reorienting most of the communities in reversing a bit of the trend. But of course, like we say, what actually further aggravated it is the effect of social media. And now the other issue is that, yes, we have a lot of Nigerians who are doing extremely well across the world.
Yes, indeed.
You understand what I'm saying? But the issue is, you also need to study their lives. What have they put through? How much sacrifices have they made? For how long have they been there? And are they regular or irregular?
Okay, can we establish something now? Because we know that there are many people who travel, whether with the help of their family, friends, or on their own, who go there and make something of themselves, even if they go through challenging experiences. But it does seem as though some people are not doing enough research before the travel.
Actually, the part of the pull factor is not only the environment over there. It is a business. It's an enterprise. There are people who benefit from taking you from this side to the other side.
Are they often Nigerians?
They are everything.
Okay. From different parts of the world?
Yeah, some statistics have it that the global trafficking business is worth $60 billion annually. So it's a huge enterprise. So they will do everything to psych you, to make you believe that it is rosier on the other side.
On the other side.
While all they are after is for you to sell your house and give them the money, and then, of course, find a way to live the rest of your life on your own.
Okay,
so
it would be great to take some
the
messages
issue.
now.
Yeah.
Let's see what Nigerians have to say as the watchers and learn. We thank you for your contribution. It would be good to know who you are and where you are reaching us from. We have a message here. It says, good morning. Thanks us all for getting into this conversation. He said it's high time. But you don't tell us who you are and where you are reaching us from. But he goes on to say, or they go on to say, we need adequate information for the citizens to understand the disadvantages of the journey that they embark on. We also need to look into what is pulling them out of the country. Many have had negative experiences even in their own land, and they wonder If I can experience this at home, it can be worse outside. Okay, so, another contribution. It is disheartening to know that many states of the Federation are not paying salaries as and at when due. And there are no checks and balances to stop this negative trend. So, take for example, if someone is not eating adequately here at home, what will make him or her want to continue to stay in that situation? Let me just take one more message. He says, I'm JL from Kano. He said, Japa is a good thing. He said, it's a good thing. He said, don't we see the foreigners, how they look when they are here? That is how many Nigerians who travel want to look when they go abroad. Before we talk with you, Abdurrahman, let me, please tell us about that. Let's talk with you, Mrs. Kokab. JL from Kano says, can't you see how the foreigners look when they come here? That Nigerians want to look like that. That's why they go. And I know they don't just refer to the color of your skin.
Yes, the branded things they are wearing.
Maybe your smile, your contagious smile.
Yes.
So tell us, should that be what they should be looking out for?
I think that is from God. If you have the facilities here, you can look the same. Because what is available here is also available abroad. Okay. So if you see the similarities, is almost the same. So what happened, we don't appreciate what we have. We always see to another person and appreciate that more. And in the same way that if you have something good and the other person is having more than you, you are always feeling that that thing should come to me. You start feeling jealous. It's like a human behavior. Okay. So this time my father told me a story, very interesting story. He said that a person was praying. So God come to him by himself and ask him what you want. He said, I want that any prayer I do, it should be granted. He said, okay, yes, you will get that prayer, but your neighbor will get twice of what you get. He said, okay, no problem, at least I'm getting what I want. So he prayed that I should have a house. So God grant him a house, but the neighbor get 2 houses. Next prayer he say, I want a car. He get a car, but the neighbor get 2 cars. He was not happy inside that what I'm getting is 1 house and 1 car, but my neighbor is getting 2 houses and 2 cars. So he say, okay, God, take one of my eye. Okay, so it means the neighbor will be blind.
Will be blind.
He was happy doing that. That is what, a human nature is. You don't appreciate what we have.
We want more.
We want more, and then we want to destroy others.
We want more. We want yours.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
A perfect.
Thank you so much for aligning it in that way. And I know that Nigerians are listening.
Just like some of the people that sent messages said, if one of your reasons is because salaries are not paid as and when due, we have so many cases like this now. It's even better where maybe you are assured, and then of course you are still within your community. There are so many other, aspects of life that have not been denied to you. You get to a place where somebody else collects your due and refuses to pay you, and you don't have access either to a phone, you can't even talk to anybody, because the slightest step that you would take indicates you as an illegal alien. And this is the situation of so many Nigerians abroad. So that's why we say, if you have to travel, you must understand the realities of the destination you're heading to.
Okay.
You must be fully abreast of the conditions of the service you're getting yourself into. Now, the worst part is that, okay, everybody looks to Europe and America, but they will always tell you that there are transit countries. They will take you to countries in Asia as transit. They will take you to other countries in East Europe as transit, where there is no human rights, where the situation, there is no rights of the average employee. where nobody cares with the circumstances you find yourself in.
Indeed.
You can't even talk to anybody.
You can't cry out.
A recent case where one Nigerian was killed in his place of work simply because there was he couldn't reach out. And he was being probably abused.
Bullied.
You understand what I'm saying? And then so by the time you now get to the story, it's too late.
It's late. We're coming right back. You know, earlier you were telling me about the contribution from diaspora to our economic growth and the potentials therein. And you talked about billions, 25 billion. Wow. Perhaps that's why NTA Abuja is taking a close look at the economic equation when we talk about the Japa trend.
To achieve better education is increasingly becoming the biggest dream of most Nigerian youth, whose mind have been wired to think they would not live up to their dreams until they japa. In Yoruba, japa loosely translates to run away or escape, used to convey the idea of swift action. For the Nigerian student, japa is viewed as the solution to a subpar education system that grapples with insufficient and low academic standards.
One of the reasons they are going there is that when you enter a university, you are not sure when you graduate. So most people are not going there because they think there they have more facilities, the teachers are more committed, and then they have a goal for every course you read. But in our own case here, most of higher institutions, if you look at our curriculum and the way the courses are structured, they actually finish a course and you don't know what you read, where does it apply? Because the curriculum is not linked to the industry. It's not, so in the downside, somebody that is not employable. It's not his fault, it's the fault of the system we operate.
In pursuit of a better life, and people took advantage of that. So in pursuit of a better life, they used education as a means to get there. You totally cannot take away educational migration. People seek knowledge, but there is a whole lot at stake. We cannot overemphasize the brain drain.
However, the Japa syndrome has its pros and cons with glaring downsides, which includes brain drain, loss of human capital, and economic setbacks that can undermine growth.
The current, the CPN, and all the other professional bodies, they're supposed to align with the NUC and NERDC to look at this curriculum. What do this university need? What the industry need? So that curriculum should be adjusted to fit the industry. And when the guy graduates, he's employable. All those useless courses they do that are wasting their time, take it out and put something more practical that will make him know what he reads, what he's going to do with when he graduates, where does it fit in. Some of them actually get scammed in process of going to school abroad, those that don't have the right link. And so some even go there to attend a substandard school.
My sister left years ago and she hasn't returned. There are so many others who are living now and we tell you, I'm not coming back. Even when they feel in their forms or something that it's just education, because the system is not so encouraging. Yes, I have moved around this country and I have seen very intelligent people who live not because they really want to. If they have a better option here, or there's a better life here, or there is even a future that they can see and say, okay, there's something to stay here for. The nation itself is affected because this money, if it were to be paid into a UI, Uniport, for instance, somehow it will get back into the economy. But this is taken out totally.
It is only natural to strive for a better life, but some parents would go as far as selling the clothes off their backs to fund their children's education abroad.
Those that cannot afford good schools end up going there to attend substandard school and come back with little or nothing to show for it. It becomes like a waste. Some end up there, have to do manage to support themselves while schooling. They end up not being to perform very well because they're very serious about your attendance, about being present in the classroom. We cover a wider area in our study than them, but they are more specific. If your child is talented, he can school even here and achieve a good result that can turn the family fortune around. But if you have to sell all you have to go and start afresh over there, it is not worth it.
It's not an adventure for the poor person. The parents go through a lot just trying to get this money. Some borrow, some have to sell landed properties, some sell their houses, gold, and all, just to send these children to get this education. And in some instances, we have even seen where the siblings are badly affected too, because they have gathered all they have to get one out. Is a very big risk. We can't say it's all bad here. There are people who are still doing very well. Professor Ijeoma of Harvard University, she graduated from University of Benin. That's somebody who started here. She made it. The grass is usually greener on the other side. When you have not gone, you feel, it's all good. When you get there, sometimes some of them have told sad tales.
Quality education is the ultimate goal for many who engage in the Japa syndrome, hence the prolonged and constant search for greener pastures.
Very interesting dimension from NTA Abuja there. And it all aligns with what we were discussing earlier with Abdurrahman, where he talked about the fact that many of our skilled workers have had the opportunity to journey outside of our shores. But I'd like to talk to you, madam. In your 21 years here, you must have built a lot of friendships.
Yes,
with many people.
Yes.
Many Nigerians too?
Yes, I do.
I know you have Pakistani friends here as well,
Yeah.
other foreigners. What is your take when you interact with them? What is the feeling you get? What are your friendships like?
Yeah, they are easygoing. They listen. They want to, do something unique and which is, like you can say, stand out. And if you give them those ideas,
they are very ambitious.
They are very ambitious about it. They will take it and they want to work on it. So we are a group of friends. We have work on many things, many charity works, which we go to the schools and do there for their libraries and things like that. So they listen, they listen and to create more good things. Like for me, I told you when I come to Nigeria, I just use the basic resources to make my art or any other thing. I build furniture with it. If you are okay with your environment, if you are happy, you don't have to, you just see, you study your environment and you try to create from there.
Everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
As long as you believe.
Yes, you can get good friends, you can get good communities, you can get children where you work, because they are our future. If you teach one child, you are
training a
nation. So if you are teaching those child on a proper grounds and you are talking, you are able to talk with the parents and they listen to your advice. There are many children with special needs. I work with them. I work with the parents also. And we were...
and there's hope even with those children.
Yes. Kanye Yachuku Tagbo is one of the brightest star of Nigeria. He was my student. I was the one who diagnosed him that he can be a future artist. So now one of his paintings is going for millions of naira.
Yeah, I hear he has had a show in New York,
yes,
in America.
Not only in New York,
all over the world.
All over the world.
Amazing.
And he's bringing a lot of awards. So
and recognition to this country.
Recognition, there is a lot of potential in this country. Art is doing very well. Not only art, I searched on different sectors. The potential is there. The youth is only to make them into a proper line.
To channel it,
to position them and work on the management, and you will see they don't have to Japa. They will stay here.
It's
and
not at all costs. Okay, we will talk with Abdurrahman more when we come back, but I'm told now that a break beckons. This is our country. Let's build it together. Let's take that break now. Weekend Deal. You're watching Weekend Deal. Earlier we talked about your keen participation, and wow, we must thank you. Your messages are coming in keenly. It shows that this is something that is touching everyone. Almost every home, can talk about this. Well, I'll take Austin's message. Austin says, reaching us from Makadi in Benue State. He says, this is a very important topic you are discussing today, and I thank you. I wish more Nigerians, especially young adults, who are the most likely group of people to Japa, will listen to this program and probably have a change of heart, which will lead to a change of plans. You know, we often ask, what can you do for your country? And he says it here, he reinstates it, that if they sit down and meditate, they perhaps can begin to think of ways that they can contribute their quota to making Nigeria not just a better place, but the best place and the best destination. He says, I've learned so much from your discourse, and I will continue to look forward to more programs like this on the NTA. Thank you, Austin Ojabo. I'll take some more, but let me let Abdurrahman give us your expert contribution. We're talking about management programs earlier on.
Well, we call it the managed labor migration. The reality is that government cannot continue to fold its arms and leave the migration space ungoverned. And I think for a long while, government has been a bit aloof about the realities on ground. We have to take it up. First and foremost, let us know that the government is going to benefit positively when it takes charge of the situation. The Nigerian economy, to a larger extent, is a human capital economy. So the need for the country to prioritize human capital development as a critical component of the Nigerian economy is very, very crucial, especially at this point in time. We have statistics from the World Bank and the United Nations that by 2050, the population of Nigeria is going to grow to about 400 million, with a sizable portion of that population, youths who are going to be active in their life, who will be ready to provide services. If these services are not available, what do you do? Clearly, the absorptive capacity of the economy will not be able to accommodate them all. But the interesting part of it is that there are a lot of job requirements across the world that will perfectly, fit into Nigerians at that stage who can be able to provide these services. Okay. The best thing for the government to do is to think ahead, to be proactive, to create legal corridors, to create regular platforms where Nigerians can be able to access verifiable legal jobs outside. Now, this is going to be a win-win situation for the country, because when you allow somebody to go on his own, your rights to demand from the person is not much.
Very low.
But when you be proactive,
support
and create the necessary incentives, one, you will have accurate data. Two, you will be able to be in control and in charge of the situation that the citizen is over there. Three, you can be able to plan on how to recycle the system such that people will have more beneficial ties to the country. And of course, in so many ways, the country is actually going to benefit from that. If with the current size of Nigerians in the diaspora at about 17 million, we are receiving about $25 billion annually as annual remittances, even though these monies are sent by individuals to their family members, friends,
we can
and their
double that or quadruple that.
But what we need to understand is that it's 6% of our GDP. And it contributes in so many ways. It contributes to our construction industry. It helps in buying cement. It helps in molding blocks. It helps in bricklaying.
Can I come in here?
It helps painters.
Can I come in here?
Yeah.
Where government to provide support like you have laid down, perhaps this money would even double or quadruple.
Obviously, we actually see it getting much higher than that. Because as it is now, these are very very unsolicited, without any incentive funds that are coming into the country. If the government makes it deliberate, that's why we see the entire diaspora phenomenon. We see the entire diaspora phenomenon as an economic factor.
Okay.
People try to see it from a social perspective, but we believe it has a huge economic potential.
Okay.
And we need to manage it, harness it for the development of the country as a whole.
And we can. Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Kokab. Let me ask you this, because you're a parent yourself. You are raising children who will be patriots, who will be responsible and responsive. So we do know that the guardians or the parents are the first models our children have. What ought to be our role in raising our children? Children who will think about giving back, not just about what the country owes them. How ought we as parents and guardians now to position ourselves in speech and in action to impact the young people in Nigeria?
Yeah, beautiful question. I'm always talking about it and working on it. Like I was raised, my early year was in Nigeria, but when I go back home, in our syllabus, there is a lot of patriotism, like we appreciate our country. We talk about Pakistan. Where you go out, you will see the Pakistani flag everywhere, which is lacking here in Nigeria. From our syllabus, from our social studies books, the patriotism should be there.
Okay.
The flags should be shown. The Nigerian often. It should be presented in all classes, everywhere. Even if I come to any office, the flag should be there on every street, on any major road. Bigger flags of Nigeria should be put. And then we should talk more good about it. I was shocked to hear that sometimes they don't appreciate their own country, because as a teacher, I think I'm lacking in that. So I started making Yoruba culture child holding the flag, Igbo culture child holding the flag. The 1st of October should be celebrated more to tell our next. It should be more active. That the street should be light up, just like in Christmas. We can do it in Christmas, no harm, but we should do it on 1st of October also.
More.
To know, to tell our children that we love our country. The more the love for our country we will put in our next generation, the more the children, they want to stay here and want to make this country a beautiful place. When we go to Dubai or any other place, we follow the rules and regulations. Why we cannot follow it here? Before we litter outside, in any other country, we think 10 times, maybe, it's just a simple example. Why not here? Why not here? So simple, small things, if we will start teaching, only the red light, green light, yellow light, we start following the things, and we start showing that, see child, this is our hero, this is Anamdi Ezekwe, this is, these are our heroes. We appreciate them. These are the good things they have done. But this thing is lacking. I'm sorry to say.
We should do more as parents and as guardians.
Yes.
Are you in agreement?
Very well.
Because government cannot do everything.
Actually, one of the things to be done to stem the tide of Japa and migration is actually to increase the level of patriotism. Apart from enhancing economic factors, providing social amenities, a major component of that is to increase the level of patriotism. We have to be deliberate about it, and I appreciate it exactly what she says. These are some things that are lacking because that's why we look at it from a social and cultural perspective. What we think about, as we've been conditioned to believe that everything about ourselves is bad. Unless we try the other side, nothing is good as we are. So that needs to change because, of course, just like some analysts have said, the situation in Nigeria compared to many other Africans is not as bad as you think.
But the messages are pouring in.
But the way it is made to seem in Nigeria appears to be like the very worst in any way you can find anywhere in the world. So it is important that I'm very impressed. I'm happy that she's here today to talk about just looking around you, appreciating your environment. It's the same thing, because sometimes we keep telling people, okay, if you want a clean street over there, you can do the same thing here.
Let's be the change that we seek.
You understand?
Let me take one or two messages just before we go on this break. Let me just take one. Somebody says here that the Japa syndrome has become a national emergency. A nation that will not retain its vibrant youth productively or retain its best brains for the good of the people has a major challenge on their hands. And like Abdurrahman said, they must begin to address it now. But there are more, but a break beckons. When we come back, if time permits, we'll take more messages. We urge you, please stay with us. Weekend Deal. It's Weekend Deal. We're talking about the Japa trend and the pros and the cons. I'm so enlightened. You know, I'm excited by the contributions of my two friends today. And Nigerians are listening. And we know that by the messages that they are streaming in. But I have time at this time to take one. But we promise tomorrow we'll take a lot more than we're able to do today. Let me just take this one. Nigerian youths must understand that Japa is not a solution to personal or national problems. One thing we should know is that we must face our hustle here. To succeed there, you must first succeed here. If you want to go abroad and become known and become renowned, you must start to build it here first. So, learning from my two friends here today, we must be the change that we seek. And little matter our corner of the shore of the nation, if we don't get it right where we are positioned, we won't get it right outside the shores. And we thank you so much for what you've brought to this discourse today.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
engaging.
Thank you.
As we wrap up, we'd like to get your final words. Let's start with you.
So my final word, like, be confident what you have and stay happy and make people happy.
Indeed. Okay, Abdurrahman?
I think my words is that you want to Japa to follow rules. You want to Japa to do the right thing. Can we all start doing it here? Can we learn to start to follow rules where we are? Can we learn to start to do the right things where we are? So that if the few of us that are able to make it over there go, the rest of us will now create a better destination for them to come back.
Amazing. So be less selfish. Think of your country. What can you do for this great country? Don't always think of what the country can do for you. On that note, we must say thank you for keeping our company on Weekend Deal today. Mrs. Kokab Farouk, it's been amazing getting to know you. I surely want to do this again. Abdurrahman Terab, Director, Technology Transfer and Innovation for Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. It's been awesome having you on our package today.
My pleasure.
Please continue to stand in the gap for Nigerians wherever they are in the world. It's all for one and one for all. God bless Nigeria. See you again tomorrow where we continue our conversation. One of us here is, we always shake hands when we are going. God bless Nigeria. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.